Hi everyone, as you may see, the chat application I'm doing here is a little bit different. So I did some CSS changes to it. It's basically only CSS. So it's a little bit more, um, yeah, a little bit more pretty. So I put the username here, a avatar. Although this avatar is just a dummy thing, there's nothing in the database for that. But the front end is now already prepared for that. And yeah, the bar to send the message, new message, it's fixed. And as you just saw by the sending button, I added an icon and some effect, like when you click. And now the messages, they don't go under the text box where you type in the message. So yeah, a little bit better. I'm going to So the commit for this is going to be available on GitHub. Also, I didn't do a video about this because I don't want to do videos focusing on CSS styling. It took me 1 hour to do this. So that would be a 1 hour long video just watching me do CSS, and I don't want to do that. But I'm going to post a it's called time lapse, a time lapse video of me doing it. So, and the changes are on GitHub. Anyway, there were no other code changes beyond that, so I'm going to continue my chat application. And what I want to do today is I wanted to better organize the code. So our front end is a little bit more organized. If we'll take a look at the source folder, but however the back end is just I don't like it. So it's only one file, server.rb. It's already 100 lines. Everything is on here, which yeah, it's maybe great for. It's great for everything is one place. You don't have to keep looking for things, but definitely this will not scale. And I want to do a better organization and also then solve some issues. So I did some pre-work on this, and I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna look at the pre-work I done and type in here, inspire myself. So what I want to begin to do is I want to go ahead. Let's stop this thing, and here I have my usual folders opened. So one thing I want to add a kind of a structure. So I'm going to start by creating a folder called lib, and I prefer to use the command line to create folders. And the structure we're going to follow is kind of lib, and then there's going to be chat app, and yeah. Also, I need a config.ru file, so that's the rack app file. And let me add some gems also. So first gem is gonna be Puma. So Puma is a web server. I think it's the most widespread or most famous, I don't know. It's the cool thing nowadays in Ruby. And it's actually great. So it's just a web server. So when we run, if I run the server like this, well, yeah, now it's picking up Puma. You see that it's picking up Puma. But if I didn't have the gem here, it would pick up the default one, which is Webrik. So you can see here Webrik. So Webrik is also a server. I think it comes bundled with Ruby. I don't know for sure. I think it does. Otherwise, we would have to install like a gem. But yeah, let's use Puma, and yeah, I think I have to type in bundle. It's funny that I don't even have to require it. I just type in Puma here and it works. Yeah, cool. It's working. Nothing changed there. It's just the server. It's kind of like the thing that opens the port and handles the connections. So Sinatra is the framework, but Puma is the web server. And yeah, also let me take a look on. Another thing I wanna go for is to add sinatra-contrib, like that, because this is gonna give me some cool stuff that I can use to better organize my code. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I want to create a config folder, and I want to create a file. So yeah, I'm gonna create a file called environment. So this is kind of some structure that I've came up with. I'm not following any structure that is out there, because there's no one way to do things. There's no one correct way either. So I'm of course I'm basing myself on what I already saw out there. So this is a little bit similar to Rails in that they have a config/environment file, and this is gonna load the environment for the app. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to put this concept of an environment variable. So I wanted to always have this environment variable. So it's going to be an environment variable called environment. It could be anything, like Rails uses Rails-env. I think Rack has Rackenv. Maybe that would be even a better name. I'm going to use Rackenv. And if it is not defined, I want to define it as. So this is going to be either development or production, or could be staging, anything. I want to add a check to make sure that this has a good value. So yeah, essentially here what I'm saying is that if it is not defined, it's fine, but it has to have the default value is going to be development. So it can be development or production. So unless it is one of these, then I want to say environment is invalid. Let me move this to a variable, valid envs. So I can environment, and then this thing again. So I'm gonna say that if this environment does not exist, is invalid, must be one of, and then I want to put the list here. So environment, and then the current environment is invalid. It must be one of, and then there's the list of valid environments. Valid envs. There we go. So this no, I want to do puts and exit one which is exiting with an error code. So other thing I want to do is I want to have this environment do everything. So all gem loading is going to be on the environment. How about that? Also these gems, I only want to load them when env rec. I don't want to load these on production. So maybe even putting like, come on, what did I do? Production. No, actually only on development. So only if I'm developing on my local machine, I want to have these gems loaded, and that reflects what's here in the gem file. They're only going to be loaded for the development environment. So other thing, I want to now do a class. I'm going to call it app environment. I don't know, I'm not happy with this name, app environment, but it's what I'm gonna use. So app environment, it's gonna be a class that is gonna be a singleton, which means there's only gonna be one instance of this class. So Ruby has this singleton module that you can require and use, but I don't want to use it. I prefer to do it myself. So I'm just gonna do instance equals, and this is gonna be class method. So it's just gonna be new. Yeah, that's basically it. So I don't even need this. So if instance is there, take the currently existing instance, otherwise you just create a new one. And then I also want to do boot, but this is not going to be a class method. And boot is gonna boot the application. So if it is booted, we don't want to boot it again. It's going to say raise application is already booted. Aborting. So it's going to be a exception there. And what else I want to have here is, well, whenever I'm booting the application, let me, oh yeah, of course. So this can be put like this, and I want to do it like booted equals true. And then I want to load config, and then let's go to declare this method load config. And essentially it is, so one thing I want to do here is on the server it is getting the Redis like this. So let me already move this Redis to here. Later on I'm going to do something like def establish, I don't know, set up DB connections. Yeah. Although these methods cannot be private for reasons I'm gonna go through later. So this always loading Redis from localhost database number 14. So I want to change that, and I want to change it to something like URL and then Redis URL. And now let me copy this. So Redis is gonna be Redis URL, and load config is gonna load this Redis URL. So it's gonna be env, and then there's gonna be one of our variables saying like Redis URL. That's a good name, isn't it? And if it is not present, the default value then is going to be localhost 14. So I don't have to type in for development. I don't even have to worry about defining this variable because it's going to load the default one. So yeah, let me do this a little bit different actually, because if I am on production, I don't want to have a default value for production. So if the rack env, or let's say if env equals development, and then I want to do something here in boot or load config or boot, which is going to do env equals env rack env, and then here I want to put a add reader for env. So I don't have to refer myself all the time like this. And yeah, so now it's there. And if env is development, then this value may be Redis URL. So it's if it's not defined, then I'm gonna define, can do like this. Also, I wanna check if Redis URL is not defined. So if it is not defined, or if it is empty, then I want to say like Redis URL must be a valid. Sorry. Redis URL and var must be a valid. Redis must be a valid URL. So yeah, has to be a valid URL. So this is gonna, yeah, basically load config right now is gonna do that, and after it's booted, is also gonna load it's gonna set up the database connections, and yeah, so it's now it's a little bit more organized. So there's a code dedicated for doing this. Yeah, so could already remove quite a few lines from server RB. And now also what I'm gonna do is I wanna, yeah, here in server I wanna add this. So is how does this go? Let me take a look. It's I have to think about this. Yeah, actually I'm gonna do it like file require file expand path, and there, so it's relative to the current directory, and it's gonna be config.environment.rb. So it's gonna require this environment file, and it's gonna say we have to actually call the boot thing. So it's gonna boot unless, let's say unless, well, let's just do it like that. It's gonna boot, so it's gonna boot the application. I think this should work now. The way it is here, it should work. Let me take a look if I'm using this environment. No. So if I run the server right now, cool, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Because I'm requiring this file, rec-env is defined. What am I doing wrong? So it's funny because there is no error message. Am I using Puma here? Let me remove this Puma for now. And bundle B server. Huh, it's not running. So what is wrong? Is it reaching this line? Yes. Yes, it's reaching this line. Am I using Sinatra? Yes, I'm using Sinatra. Do I have to maybe have this Sinatra over here? Oh yeah, that was a problem. So yeah, that's also a problem to solve. And yeah, the application is working. If I new message, yeah, it's a new mess. So actually, let me go ahead and connect to this and say flushdb. So yeah, now start from 0. Cool. Now you have a clean database again. Start from 0. Okay, so this Sinatra has to be here for a while. I'm gonna remove it soon. Actually, I'm gonna remove it now. Yeah, so next step is basically removing this Sinatra. Also, what I wanna do is, so what I wanna do next is, now I have a config, kind of a config folder with an environment file. And I have a centralized place where I can put all my configuration loading stuff. And what I want to do next is I want to better organize these endpoints. So all endpoints, they are here like this, and this is just crappy. I mean, I don't like this. Imagine if I would have like 100 endpoints just in one file. It doesn't work. So to fix that, I'm gonna use, I have to, yeah. So first thing is this is the reason for me creating this lib thing here. And what I'm gonna do is a shed app file here. So chat app, and then there's gonna be a module chat app. So this file is only gonna declare this module. And then inside here, I wanna split these APIs. So there's the perform login here, and there is the, wait, I thought there were two endpoints. Anyway, this is the authentication stuff, and I'm gonna move all the authentication stuff. Let me copy it already. I wanna move it to a different file. So I wanna say, I wanna call this file, it's gonna be API. Let's call it API for now. So api.rb. api.rb is gonna be, and then this, so this is inside a chat app folder. So therefore it's gonna have a structure like this. So class chat app and then API, and I'm gonna paste these things here. And I don't have to say authentication stuff anymore, and these functions, they go outside for now, just for now. And I know that the user, oh no, that's not true. User is being also used here, so I don't want to move it away from there. And this endpoint here, so that's the root endpoint. I also want to move it here. So actually this is going to handle it's going to handle both the root, the index, and also the login endpoint. So how is this going to work? Actually, this is going to be something from Sinatra. So this class is going to inherit Sinatra base. So this is going to be the root of the API. So this set here also is going to be here. Set public folder. Then I guess, yeah, I have to probably do this better. Well, let me add a to-do for this to-do. I'm going to come back to this later. And these endpoints, this should be the identification of these should be like this. And yeah, so this is a way for Sinatra. I mean, instead of putting all in one file, I'm telling Sinatra that this is now going to be like this. And also, next thing I want to do is I want to say register chat app messaging API. And then I'm going to create a new class called messaging API.rb. And what this is going to be about, this is going to be the chat app messaging API. So this is going to be all the API for messaging. So what this means is that sending messages and receiving messages is going to be handled in that file. So let me copy all this and move it all the way here. And let me already put some indentation, I don't know. And yeah, so I can say like def, I have to do it like def self dot registered, and then app, and here I have to add this app. So this is yeah, it has to be like this. So app no, that's not how it works. It's gonna be, I'm gonna say like app.namespace, and then here I can put the endpoints and the end space. So this is, yeah, so something is wrong here. So this is the end of the function, this is the end of the namespace, and this is the end of the register function. Yeah, there you go. So namespace, but in order to use this namespace, I have to do app dot register Sinatra. I'm not sure I have to do this, but I know for sure that I have to require this Sinatra namespace. And this thing over here comes from that gem I added. So this is in sinatra-contrib. This is not here. So that's why I added that one. So yeah, the way it is now, the server is not gonna able to work. So look at that. The server is already much more better than it was before. It's only 15 lines. And I can even remove these symbolized keys here, userdb. Well, let it stay here for a while, and I'm going to remove it later. But yeah, the problem now is that this is not going to work, because if I try to run it, well, first we have this problem that it's not doing anything. And to fix that, I have to go to the config ru file, and I have to do it like, I have to require the server here, to require the server, and tell rack that we want to run the chat app, the API of the chat app. So now, instead of running like that, I'm going to rank like this. Rack up, port, and then now, yeah, cool. Now it's the problem. So the problem is that it's not finding the constant chat app, of course. And what I want to do now is I want to use a gem called Zeitwerk. So Zeitwerk is so this gem is really cool because it does autoloading. So I don't have to, since I'm now splitting the application in more files, I would have to do a lot of requires in all files to require. For instance, I would have to go to the server probably and require the chat app, and the chat app would have to require this API and messaging API. And then I don't want to do a lot of requires. That's why I want to add this awesome gem called Zeitwerk. And let me install it. And then there's a little bit of a setup that has to be done for it to work. So if I go to environment, I want to put it probably here. So require Zeitwerk. And the way it works is Zeitwerk, that's uppercase Z, loader, new, and then I'm gonna do a tap on this. Loader, and then push dir, and I'm gonna call it like, let me do a lib path equals file dot expand path again. So it's gonna be against this folder, and it's gonna be, so we are on config folder, so you go back one folder and enter the library folder. That's it. So that's gonna be the lib path, and it's gonna automatically load files from the library folder, from the lib folder. And then loader setup. And what I also want to do is loader dot eager load only if rack env equals production. So if you are in production, I want to eagerly load all classes. And if I try to run it now, no, it doesn't work again. Okay. Wrong argument type class, expected module. So where is this? Extend. This is on the messaging API. So does this, so this should then be a module, not a class. Funny. Yeah, exactly. and it seems like it's working. However, it's all 404 here. Why it's 404? Could be because the route is not being found. Let me take a look on that. So if I enter this URL, yep, not like that. So yeah, this is working, localhost, and then poll messages. So Sinatra is saying that these routes over here, poll message, does not work. And yeah, of course they don't work because I have to register them here. Oh, they are registered. Chat app messaging API. Yeah, actually what I want to do, I want to add this namespace. So let me do it like this. Restart the server. Oops, not this one. And now if I put M here, now it's working. Yeah, so that's also a change I want to do. So using this namespace, I want to use a namespace called M. M stands for messaging. That's a good name for now. So yeah, so I want to also organize the endpoints. And I want to use this namespace M, which stands for messaging. So everything there's going to be under M, like this, is going to be, I mean, it could be messaging, but 1 letter is better than 5 letters for if you're thinking about performance. And everything under here is going to be related to messaging. That's why this is called the messaging API. So everything on the messaging API is going to be under the M namespace. And since, I mean, then this is called send message, and it does make sense because of course it's a message because we are on the messaging API. So I'm gonna just remove that message there. And also in poll, the same thing, because we know that we are talking about messages because the namespace already tells that. Then it's now gonna be poll and send, but I have to also go to the front end and change it there. So that's going to be fairly easy because it's only 2 places. So an app view, instead of send message, is going to be /m/send. And instead of poll message, is going to be /m/poll. And that's it. So my webpack is running. Now let me run my server. And yeah, it's not going to run, it's not going to work like this anymore. I have to use rankup. So this file is, I don't know, this file is maybe not very useful anymore if I would to remove these, but I'm not removing these right now. Now if I go to here, yeah, now it works again. And if I log out, is the login working? Clear. And let's say Alice and secret with a K. Yeah, there we go. So send a message. Hi, I'm Alice. Yes, it works. So everything is working. And I have this fancy thing over here. I have this fancy folder structure. And I want to do some more steps. So first problem here is that this to-do is still here. So I want to remove these. And well, this seems to work, although if I try to open this, yeah, although I really prefer to have instead of having a relative folder name here, I prefer to have an it's called a full path. So I'm gonna use file join app environment dot root path, and then concatenate that with the public folder. And then I wanna have the app environment know where the root path is. So app environment is going to have where is it? Well, let's put it somewhere. Root path, and root path is gonna be the file.expand path. So it's gonna be the Actually, this is the config folder, so I want to go one folder back, and that is gonna be the root path. So root path, and if I reload it, then there we go. Also, so these users, where is this user thing being used? Is it being used here? Is it being used here? Yeah. So I'm just gonna keep this. Yeah, I want to remove this from here, and I want to say like let's say for now that the environment's gonna load the users. Yeah, I don't like that, but let's put it here for now. We'll set up the DB connections. And it just works, or... So I'm mostly happy with the results so far. The code is better organized right now. And I'm gonna say for here today, and I'm gonna prepare something more for the next videos. And the next thing I wanna do is I wanna convert this to long polling. So I'm gonna talk about long polling like this in the next video. And yeah, this is gonna be an improvement to the chat application, and I want to talk about some performance considerations to take when doing long polling. But yeah, that's gonna be for next video. So for today, that's it. Thank you and goodbye.